Welcome to our video about Martus's new report builder. Why a report builder? Well, as you know, one of the most important features about Martus is our pre-built suite of flexible reports. That's one reason it is so easy to implement and use Martus. But sometimes you just need to have reports in a specific format. Maybe you want more information. You want to call out some specific information in detail. Or you want to perform some calculations to come up with some KPIs. What you need is something that provides the flexibility of ad hoc reporting plus the power of report customization. And that's why we're introducing the Martus Report Builder. You can customize the provided templates, build reports from scratch, create your own formulas, or use any combination of actuals and budgets on these reports. This demo will introduce some of these exciting features. Let's start by selecting Report Builder from the menu. Then I'll pick a report that I have created for the purpose of this video. First of all, some basic building blocks. The settings for this report. These control the report heading, the ending date for the report, the data sources used on this report, and the default grouping of your data rows. Now, selecting data sources. You choose the data sources for a report from this list. You can use the actuals for any fiscal year. You can use any Martus budget. You can pick as many data sources as you want. 2 years, 5 years, compare to 6 different budgets. It's up to you. When you look through this list, you'll see that you can choose from standard descriptors like current year actuals or prior year plan or budget. Scroll down a bit and you can see all of the budgets and all of the actuals called out specifically by both year and name. This particular report has just 2 data sources at the present time. You also use the settings to format the report's rows. How do you want to see this information presented? By account? By dimension? Rolled up? Shown in a flat format or expanded? You can choose any of these combinations. It's up to you. You control this here in the groupings, and you can make as many layers or levels of grouping as you wish. For example, you could show this information by department and then by account within department. Or by project within department, we'll add that one, and then by account within projects. Now for any changes that you make to these settings, you can simply scroll to the bottom and update and refresh to apply that change immediately. Here you see department, project, and then GL account within the projects. I'm going to refresh to return this to the original settings. Also, as part of the settings, you can identify specific dimensions or combinations of dimensions using these drop-downs in order to filter these reports. And yes, you can also use Martus's reporting groups inside this report builder. Now these settings apply overall to the entire report, but you can also control what you see on this report at the column and the row levels. Now we'll look at how to edit and customize a report. This will let us dive deeper into the topic of columns and rows. To do this, we're going to add some columns to this existing report. As you can see, the current report compares actuals for June of 22 to June of 21. It also compares actuals for the year-to-date for 22 and 21. We'd like to add some budget information to this report as well. As you recall, when we first looked at the settings for this report, we noticed that it contains only 2 kinds of actuals. So our first step is going to be add a data source for the budget in which we're interested. So we're going to use the current year dashboard budget. We'll update and refresh those settings. Now I'll tick the checkbox for edit mode. Once I do that, you'll see that I can click into the setup for each of the columns and also for each section on the left. I'll start by selecting an existing column and add a column to the right. It adds this column in the form of a separator column. I'll click to edit it and we'll start to make changes. The first thing about a column is what type is it? This one, as I indicated, is a separator column, simply a gray vertical bar that helps you organize your report. But we have many other choices. The first two that I want to talk about are period and period group. The period is for a single column with data for a specific period or range of time. The period group shows a range of months or quarters as a unit on the report, so that you might have 6 individual months displayed, but you create them quickly by using the period group setting. Here we're going to choose period. I can tailor a heading for this column, or I can allow the default header to be used. We're going to start with the default header. I can choose a number format. It might be a percentage. I can include values to the right of the decimal, or I can choose to place my negative numbers in parentheses. I'll skip over those for now. I must select a data source. In this case, it's going to be the current year dashboard budget. And I need to select a period. This column could be an annual value, in other words, a total for the year. It could be a year-to-date value from the beginning of the fiscal year through the current ending date. It could be a year-to-date remaining value, in other words, the total from after the ending date through the end of the fiscal year. Could just identify the ending date, so as I change the date for this report, the column always updates and shows you information for that particular month. I could specify a month. I could specify a quarter. In this case, what I want is ending date. And there's the column on the report. This is interesting to me, but now I would like to add a comparison, perhaps to compare my actuals to this budget. So I'll click here and add another column to the right. Again, you see it is created as a separator column, and we'll proceed to edit this column. Now I'm going to choose a formula. With formula columns, I need to give it a header. I'm going to create the formula here, then update and refresh. Now I have a column that compares my 22 actuals to my 22 budget. Now I'm going to wrap up this video with some comments about saving changes to a report. Whenever you make a change to a report, as we did here, you see that you can update or update and refresh. The best practice recommendation is to always update and refresh. As a pro tip, you might choose to just update if your report is manipulating a lot of data and taking a long time to refresh, and you've got just another couple of changes that you want to make before you finally do the refresh. But even when you select Update and Refresh, these changes are only temporary until you click this green Save button. This gives you lots of flexibility to make many changes on an ad hoc basis. But those changes will not be saved as a permanent part of this report until you click the Save button. So in this video, we took a look at the Report Builder building blocks, the settings in which you can control the data sources, the grouping and levels, and the filters for a report. We learned a little bit about editing a report. We added some columns, added a new data source to an existing report, and used that data source in the columns that we added. We also looked at saving our changes to this report. In upcoming videos, we'll look at editing rows. We'll learn more about formulas. We'll talk about using multiple sections in reports, take a closer look at report templates, and creating reports from scratch. More videos will be coming soon. Thank you for watching this introductory video for Martus's new Report Builder.